Welcome to Manfeild, home of a wonderful circuit and home of what can be ever-changing weather conditions. So far, the weekend has been rain mixed with wind, mixed with sunshine as the drivers and teams line up and get themselves set into what should be an epic battle ahead of us. The third round of 4 of the V8 SuperTourers. This track is an amazing machine. Mark Pedersen, try and talk us through it.
Well, turns 1, 2 and 3 is where all the mayhem's going to occur on lap 1. 4, 5 and 6, very high banked cambered corners. This track here is the hardest on the cars, it's the hardest on the drivers. They never get a reprieve. As I say, we're in for one big day of racing.
Well, it is going to test not only their fitness, but also their brakes, the way they handle the gearbox, and of course, the way they handle, well, their composure around here, because they don't want to get carried away as we look down there, Mark, and what a wonderful sight it is. 14 V8 SuperTourers, 7 litres. It's a lot of horsepower to try and get down on the ground, and there will be some nerves, no doubt, going through these drivers with, well, they've got a lot of work to do ahead of them, haven't they?
Yeah, they certainly have. The weather is the big unknown.
Okay, looking at the grid, and Johnny Reid pulled in an epic one, of course, in the final moments to get on the front row. Greg Murphy, Andy Knight beside him, positions 3 and 4.
Then going back, we've got a GM Ford battle. Kane Scott, of course, Johnny McIntyre, his home circuit here, so he's looking for a big weekend. Eddie Bow, next door to him, the young charger, Richard Moore.
Yes, and he's done so good for himself, hasn't he, now to get there. Stephen Richards, we expect to see good things from him alongside with Craig Baird. Many trophies beside his name. Andy Booth and Ant Pedersen will line up in positions 11 and 12. And then the final row of this V8 SuperTourers grid will be Colin Corkery and the young charger, 16-year-old Andre Heimgartner, and he has a lot of work to do. We're going now and looking in at Pedersen. His nerves, how will they be, Mark?
Yeah, look, he's a cool, calm character at the best of times, actually, so he's nice and relaxed there. Young Ant, look, we know he's a race winner from earlier in the championship. His team just having a bit of a brief to him there, saying, look, if you see the rain, you'll be the first to know it's coming.
Well, we're looking now at Greg Murphy, of course, missing out on round 2 due to his back injury. Brought in Fabian Coulthard, which was quite a good idea because he went and won the round. Unfortunately, he doesn't get to keep the points.
No, he certainly doesn't. You're right. Fabian got the bank nose as well, and he's currently high up in the championship. Will drop down. But look, Greg's a cool, calm customer. He knows how to handle these cars. If anybody's going to handle the trying conditions we see in race 1, it's going to be the man on the screen.
Yes, and now we look at Steve Richards in the 556 CRC. A lot will be going through his mind because internally he knows he should be doing better so far in the season.
Yeah, exactly right. At the moment, you can just see his eyes. His eyes are focusing on the dash there. He's either there or he's doing a bit of a silent prey to himself. But either way, you know, it's part of the pre-race ritual they go through. Johnny Max, another one, is now one of his teammates to Stephen Richards there. But you know when Johnny's on form, you can just tell by his body language. Look, he's got a little bit of work to do this afternoon, that's for sure.
Well, he shouldn't be pleased with his first round at Hampton. No argument there. He should be quite angry with himself. But then he recovered at Ruapuna. That should make him a lot happier and bring in confidence to this round.
He should do. You know, he's currently 6th on the grid as well here, and I say there's a lot of expectations on him because there is just drones of fans here to see him hopefully get a bit further up. But look, at the moment, race 1, it's dry. We know what happened in qualifying. Anything can happen. Look, the umbrellas are slowly starting to go up there, so saying that, looks like someone's about to take one down, so he's made an absolute liar of me already.
Well, let's hope they all come down or that they stay up only to protect themselves from the sunshine, because there are some changes, some specific things that must happen if it is declared wet. That is going to be quite a challenge for everybody.
Yeah, it is, but thankfully, and this is one of the magnificent things I love about this category, is that everybody will be on the same playing field. They'll take the guessing away from the teams. They'll make the decisions. Officials will say, okay, guys, we're doing this race a little bit too dangerous now to continue. We'll go through the wet changeover sequence, which means that all the cars will come in at the same time. They do the changes, they recommence the race again.
Well, we look there towards Andy Booth and Craig Baird, 2 men who have had so many battles together in V8 touring cars here in New Zealand, and now they get to do it yet again in a V8 SuperTourer on this wonderful Manfeild circuit, which, Mark, I just love so much. But what will be the routine here? We've got 2 laps of warm-up. It will be not just the tyres, but going through the whole circuit in their heads, won't they? They'll be thinking to themselves, turn 1, turn 2, get the right gear, make sure I get the right drive line.
Well, what's more important here, and you can see all the cars getting sideways, is to get a lot of heat into the tyres nice and early. Actually interesting, Johnny Reid already got the windscreen wipers going, so there's obviously a little bit of moisture starting to come down. Matter of fact, first 3 cars there, Greg Murphy as well, Andy Knight opting not to run them at the moment. Kane Scott's got them, so whether Mother Nature's starting to play a trump card, but turn 1, they've got to get the heat in because they're all going to be charging. You can go 3 abreast, but make no mistake about it, on the apex of the corner, there's only enough room for 1.
Well, we're looking towards Greg Murphy. He is in the middle of the field, not where he wanted to be. He wanted to be up front, like every race car driver does. And now we're looking on board with him. The eyes are focused, and he will be getting all the heat into the tyres that he can, into the brakes that he can, as he tries to make a launch into turn 1. Can he do it? A rolling start? Well, Mark, I'm not sure you can really try too much on the first corner of the race.
Get to the first corner, there you go. The rain is starting to come back now. But we know these Hancock tyres, they take 5 or 6 hard, aggressive laps to get up the temperature. Unfortunately, there's not a great deal of residual track temperature left in the track at the moment, so that won't be aiding these guys. Look, you see how aggressive Greg is there. He's moving the car left, he's throwing it to the right. The other way these guys generate a lot of heat is that they actually go around and leave the brake pedal hard on and then accelerate as well. What that does, it gets the heat into the brake, then transfers into the tyre, and then generates some grip like that. Johnny Mack, there you go, you see he's throwing the wheel sideways. You know, his right leg will be hard on the brake pedal as well. This is all part of the routine.
And it's a strong routine that every driver will be going through because everyone wants the perfect start. We all know that. It's an obvious thing.
Yeah, look at him, he keeps chucking the steering wheel to the right, just moving the car from side to side. And look, if you've got a bit of a bad day, you can actually make yourself feel quite nauseous when you're doing this because the cars are just moving one side to the other. It's like getting seasickness in a 600 horsepower beast.
Yeah, 7 litres of pure grunt, 427. It's a great number, really, when it comes to cubic inches. And that's what they will be trying to throw around this wonderful circuit and trying to keep that horsepower under control. The torque going through these cars. We're on board with Ant Pedersen, and he is doing everything he can. Just like everyone else, they're all going through the same routine, is try and get the heat going. And as you said, 5 laps to really get the bike going. Well, if it's cold, which it is, may take 6, 7.
Yeah, quite possibly. And then again, the teams would have engineered the cars, so they actually would have come on quite strong. We're talking about a 20-hour duration race here, but they would have just done that. They said, right, let's get the tyre temperatures up as hard as we can, and drivers, you nurse the cars along.
Well, it's a great view they're going to have out of their front windscreens, and we've got a great view from here as well. Ant Pedersen, he is looking really mean now, and he promised that he would put in a better effort than he did at Ruapuna. He promised that to me, so I'm going to hold him to it. Ruapuna, well, he did all right. Now, Stephen Richards, 6th position on the grid. Can he do any more? Yes, he can. I'm sure he can. He's got a lot to learn, though, because he has never raced Manfeild.
No, and that's not always a bad thing, actually, because you don't know any bad habits. You just get in and you drive in your own ability, and we know this man winning 2 Bathursts and has a lot of ability, but we're now getting to the big part of the weekend. Here we go.
The rain falls.
Yeah, and the rain starts falling. The starting sequence is going to start in earnest very shortly. We'll pick up the safety car, and then, as we say, all the nonsense is going to stop. All the weaving's going to stop. But at this stage, what you do is when you start gathering 2 by 2, you try to psych the driver out beside you. The guy in front of you, you do a bit of a charge to him. The guy behind you, you hit the brakes and slow him down, saying, look, mate, I'm not here to be mucked around with. I'm here to do a bit of an arm wrestle with you.
Well, the safety car is getting ready to catch these 14 V8 SuperTourers and lead them on their final formation lap. They've had their warm-ups and they're going to get themselves into action. Reed and Manuel will start on the front.
Sorry, something very interesting I just picked up there. Right on the apex of the corner, there's actually still water running across there, but right in the middle, there's kind of the driest line, so to speak. So right there, you have it left and right, still puddles. Right in the middle is where the racing line. So those guys are going to be trying to get to that middle part of the track as early as they can. So if you're 2 or 3 abreast and you've got some guys sailing down the outside of the inside, they've got the foot hard on the brake pedal, they're going to hit that wet patch, lock themselves up. Hopefully, there's not going to be mayhem.
Well, I know maths. 3 doesn't go into 1.
It's just a funnel effect here at Manfeild. We've seen it time and time again, and we're going to see it time and time again as well. Everybody goes down the outside, the inside, thinking that they can outbrake each other. But when you get to the apex, essentially there is only 1 line, 2 at the absolute most.
Well, Johnny Reed will lead the pack away. He will set the pace once they get into their 2x2 formation beside Paul, Manuel, and then Murph and Knight will do everything they can to try and at least stay with those 2, if not sneak through that funnel that you were talking about on turn 1. Kane Scott, Johnny Mack in positions 5 and 6, and very soon we'll see them forming up. They've done the intermediate stretch, is what we call that part of the circuit, the intermediate straight. It's only about 600 metres long at race pace, and they won't be doing too much in the way of manoeuvring once they're on there. They're going to hold their lines.
No, but you never get a reprieve here, because the 1 minute you come out of the corner, then you try to draft the guy into the next straight, and because the straights are so short, You don't really get a break, but also we've got to keep an eye on turn 2 and turn 3 on the first lap. Mayhem's going to unfold, it's going to be there, but here we go. You see the guys, they're backing off, they're accelerating, they'll get very close soon, trying to outcycle each other, but turn 1, they've got to be right in the middle there to get away from those puddles.
So they are now getting themselves set. The final little twitching from Greg Murphy as he makes sure that he has every little bit of heat into the tyres and into the brakes that he can gain. The safety car has now disappeared and we are getting ready for a bit of rolling thunder here in race 1. 20 laps is about to get underway with the V8 SuperTourers and it is all go, and we might see some 3 into 1 going, and it's a big brake lock-up from Paul Manuel as he tries to muscle his way past Johnny Reid. Greg Murphy up the inside and loses traction and loses position.
I have to say though, everybody got that through that. A lot more better than I thought. Here we go, turn 2, just going on the outside. No, I have to say everybody's obviously paid respects to the conditions. Here's Andy Knight, Eddie Bell getting together, Johnny McIntyre just trying to rest the position.
Yeah, he's letting him know he's there, isn't he? And Eddie Bell started in 7th position, Johnny Mac in 6th, so he's given it to him. Bit of smoke there from some rubbing and from some tyres as well. But Johnny Reid, we know he's had pace, he's shown it in both rounds. A bit of bad luck on his part has managed to stop him from getting on top of the podium. This could be the one. There goes the curse. And Murphy and Paul Manuel are going to have a go at it as well around the outside.
Yeah, that move there shouldn't actually happen, to be honest. It just proves Greg's racecraft and Paul Manuel's ingenuity, saying that Greg was out there. But look, very early, Greg's decided that he's had to take this race. You know, he's got to make this up very early to take the battle to Johnny Reid. But look at Paul's car just struggling on cold tyres here, just not getting down to the apex as he's asked him to do.
Well, Johnny Reid actually leads the points after the qualifying session, but only by 10 ahead of Johnny McIntyre, who was down there fighting with Andy Knight, and it looks like he might have the inside line back there. Meanwhile, Greg Murphy takes a nice, clean, simple line, and no more sideways action coming out of the first turn.
Yeah, looking at Greg's car, he's taken such a unique line from the mid-corner to the exit of the corner. He kind of comes in and he makes no attempt to follow the natural line. He's just trying to drive the thing out. So, look, the car's still trying to get up to optimal tyre temperature. You have to say this is his racecraft coming out.
Well, Johnny Reid has experience. We know that from his conditioning in open wheelers and also in other forms of tin tops. He has experience, but he doesn't have the years of experience that Greg Murphy has. And Greg will have all those little tricks up his sleeve. And when he gets close enough, it'll get to the time where he starts to mess with the mind of Johnny Reid.
That's impossible to do. Trust me, I've learned from experience. Nothing can faze Johnny Reid.
Oh, I love your confidence. That is fantastic confidence on board with Stephen Richards, and he's getting left a little bit behind here.
Wow, yeah, look, the rain is starting to come down now. Here he is, very composed in the car. Craig Beard on the inside of Andy Knight.
Well, that's clean racing, isn't it? And that is experience. There's no argument there.
Yeah, it certainly is. He also got a fair bit of confidence at the stage of the race there, Craig Beard. So next one in front of him.
Going through
Craig Scott.
Turn number 7, and is Andy Knight going to have a crack at it? No, he's not. He's not close enough. Craig Beard has that line. You can just see the spray coming through that little river that you mentioned there going into turn 1. And so far hasn't caused any issues. No hydroplaning, no problems.
No, actually it had the potential to, but thank goodness everybody got through that. Got it to the unscathed. Stephen Richards put a bit of attention on the back of Andy Knight as well.
He is finally there. He caught up. He had a huge gap, so he's made up some wonderful time. Now, either he has suddenly improved, or those in front of him have really backed down a little bit with the rain starting to fall.
And this is all confidence at this stage of the race. The rain falling, tyres still coming to the opportunity. Here's Johnny Mac having a look down the inside of Paul Manuel, and he has executed that. Well done.
Well, that is one of the official passing spots that they talk about here on Manfeild circuit. 4 of them. They say there are 4 genuine passing spots, and if you want to be courageous, you can try in the middle as well. And Johnny Mac knows them all. He's had a crack at it. He's done it. And now he is going to try and pull away. Currently 4th position. Not bad after starting in 6th.
See him making a bit of a sturge to the front of the race. But Paul Manuel's certainly not comfortable with that car. You'll see the thing, it's not flowing. The transition from one part of the corner to the other is not as smooth. So hopefully, give it a lap or so, gets a bit more tyre temperature in.
The other one who's not as quick as Kane Scott. Yeah, he's been holding that fleet up. That's how Stephen Richards caught up. Craig Beard is going to take him so cleanly on the inside. Won't be long before Andy Knight does. Craig Beard goes on the ripple strip, just a little bit too wide, but he's going to be quick enough to stop Kane. Yeah,
I was actually surprised. I thought Kane was going to put his nose back in and make life very hard for Craig Beard, but it didn't eventuate. So at the moment, the man on the screen, Craig Beard, certainly made big gains. He started 10th, currently up to 5th spot. So,
well, it's very clean racing, Mark. Very clean.
Well, given the conditions, I think they have to. You know, race one's always an important part because it builds a foundation for the rest of the weekend. And last thing you want to do is be over confident it will be too much of a heroic and then lose it all. But that's actually rain starting to fall in the picture there. So,
well, we're only on lap 4 of 20, and there is still plenty of time for Kane Scott's tyres to come on board, and maybe he set it up for later race pace, and he could come on in the song maybe 15 laps, 16 laps, and make a run for the front end.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen now because the rain's starting to come down so heavy that any benefit they would have got trying to get the tyres up to optimum temperature will be fading away now. Here's Ann Peterson having a look around the outside.
Not the best move. Not the best move. A little bit wild on the outside.
I'm going to agree to disagree. I reckon it's actually the best move of all going into 7 and 8.
You would, wouldn't you? Right. Stephen Richards finally having a go. Richard Moore going sideways into turn 1, so he might lose his position, but he cuts off. He takes his line, and Ann Peterson has to stay calm and controlled. He's got Moore in front of him, and Moore is still holding on. Eddie Bell, look at him come up on pace.
God, he's had a charge going, didn't he?
Well, I thought he was going to hit Ann Peterson quite hard up there, so he must have had some big braking manoeuvres going on there. He didn't lock them up. He is quick. Eddie Bell is now quick. Ann Peterson riding on board, looking back, and he's got the Richard Moore thing going on there. Eddie Bell's going in the inside. The door was open, but Richard Moore will have the go into turn number 6.
They're going to go 2 abreast here, there's no doubt about it. Whoever's going to come out in front, I can't actually comment yet. They're running a little bit wide. Advantage Eddie Bell.
Well, the way that Ann Peterson held on to the centre of the track there was no way that either Moore or Bell were going to get through.
No, definitely not. Ann Peterson doing a good job. Of course, it's a pretty good company there with the two-time Bathurst winner, Stephen Richards, just in front of the guys on screen. Look, they're not giving this battle up, are they?
Does someone want to tell them you're not meant to do the whole circuit side by side?
But this is what this Hancock tyre does. It allows this type of dynamic racing.
Well, Ann Peterson has got it again. He's going to think about trying Stephen Richards on, but he won't have any of that, and he makes sure that the defensive line is done. Andy Knight in front of him. Kane Scott still holding up the field.
Yeah, Kane, they're actually just struggling, aren't they? Look at the man that's struggling as well. The man in front of them, Paul Manuel. Craig Beard's got ahead of them, but take nothing away from this battle here. We've got young chargers, experienced chargers, and relatively new chargers all tied up in this battle.
Well, as you said, the rain is going to equalise everybody for tyres coming on song as they get it a little bit messy going into the intermediate section here at Manfeild. That is turn number 5. And now they're going to have to battle their way through, and we can see carnage coming. I'm sure of it. Ann Peterson goes left wide. Is that the right line? Is he going to try something different? And a big shot from Andy Knight. I could see it coming with these guys battling, but he's managed to hold on to it, Mark.
Yeah, look, Andy Knight actually got right into the corner, locked the right front wheel, and that just pitched him right up. Oh, he's got Kane Scott right on the grass. You do not want to be doing that.
Well, that is a dangerous place to be here. Richard Moore is going to look down the inside. He will have that one. And Kane Scott is slowly and surely going backwards. Has something happened to Stephen Richards? He just stepped out.
Yeah, he's got on the curb there. Of course, there's painted curbs here, so when you get on the things, it's just going to try to spit you out. So he done a very good job to hold that, but the Moore car right back to the inside.
Well, we're looking at Ann Peterson and Eddie Bell as they try and fight their own way through this circuit, with Andy Knight chomping on the bit to get past them as well. And he's diving hard under the brakes there. But this battle between Eddie and Ant is looking epic. It's looking like a lot of fun. And a brake lock up from Eddie Bell. And that's caused problems for Andy Knight. Will that open the door further back? We'll wait and see on that one. But at the moment, Ann Peterson holding on, and Richard Moore in behind Andy Knight. He's thinking about it back there amongst those 4. Eddie Bell still trying to fight Ann Peterson.
Yeah, look, and this is actually the battle for the 6th and 7th place. So, look, these guys are hard on it here, but this is actually battle 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, just in a blink of an eye.
Eddie Bell needs to be careful. He was a little bit sideways, drifty out of that last corner. He will ruin his tyres if he keeps that up. He's got to calm down.
Yeah, look, I don't think it's actually going to hurt the tyres that bad, because this Hancock tyre is so durable.
As you say.
That's the painted curve. As soon as they get on, it's like hitting ice. It'll just try to, fire off the track. But
well, he gets points for trying, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, 10 out of 10 for trying. Here go Andy Knight down the inside, pulls us off. DSA Steve Rich is going to follow him through.
Well, it looks almost like it was a little cut there from Richard Moore, but he held on to his position. This is our race leader, Johnny Reid, and he has been there and done this before at a previous round, and then a safety car came out and took the lead away from him. He will be looking back in his rear vision mirror thinking, this gap, it must remain. Please, it must remain.
Yeah, look, last lap around, the first 3 cars are doing, 10.8, 10.8, 10.6. Go back to Craig Beard, they're all in the 13s and 12s, so whether there was an incident off screen that we didn't quite see, here's Ann Peterson. He's looking really racy on the inside of Paul Manuel, takes that spot for 5th place.
Well, the thing to remember is Ant started in 12th. In 8 laps, he's gone from 12 to 5.
Yeah.
No, 6, 12 to, yes, it actually will be 5 now. What an amazing race from him so far.
Yeah, I've got a lot of confidence in the car. In saying that, look, we see the windscreen wipers going, and I've made comment about the rain coming down, but everybody is now setting the fastest lap of the race on these particular laps. So they're certainly in the zone. Certainly the tyre temperatures are up, the brake temperatures are up and everything. So
Well, now that Pedersen has managed to get past Manuel, it is the job of Eddie Bell to do the same thing. And here is Andy Knight finally getting the line that he wanted. And he sent Richard Moore out into the wet stuff wide on turn 1. Looking back to the battle for second and third, Greg Murphy and Johnny McIntyre. Well, he's going to do a good job of holding his position here, Murph. We know he's got the skill to do it, and he won't just give this to Johnny.
Well, aren't these roles reversed? From race 3, we saw Ruapuna, didn't we? We saw Johnny man on the picture in front of the 51 car. And now Johnny Mac down the inside, a long way down the inside. Greg comes down. Johnny just had the back out of the throttle.
And he lost composure there because the back end stepped out. And I must say, Johnny, no tappy, because you will get into a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, you can probably give him a little bit of a love kiss, but if he actually takes advantage, down the inside, he's got him.
Well, Greg Murphy has obviously overshot his braking there, under pressure from Johnny Mac, who was sideways as he comes out of it. And Mark, what went wrong? Did Murph do something wrong under pressure?
No, Johnny McIntyre sucked him in. Greg went up high, Johnny went down defensive. It's a very classic passing manoeuvre here. And you can say, advantage, Johnny McIntyre.
So what's going through the head of Greg Murphy right now? Lots. And one of those will be, I'm not going to let that stand.
Yeah, how do I pay back the favour? I think it's going through his mind right now.
Well, it just proves that the team JMR Racing of Johnny Mack and, of course, Stephen Richards as well have really improved since their first round at Hampton Downs, where they honestly admitted that they did not have things right. They tried to get too clever, too tricky, and it cost them. They went back to basics, and now look what it's done. In 2 rounds, he is already proving himself, and he is second in the championship standings.
Yeah, sometimes you've got to build the foundation before you build the empire, and I think they actually were trying to go to the 20th floor of the empire from round 1 and didn't quite work in their favour. So they've gone back, re-established Mats the walk card, just kissing the tyres. Look, he's going to get out of that, so not bring out any safety car, just a local yellow flag.
Watching the replay here, did he do it under his own conditions? Stephen Richards on the inside, and I would say maybe a little bit of combination from my eyes.
Yeah, looks a little bit of black rod on the left rear corner of that car, so probably took an evasive manoeuvre to get out of the way and went a bit far. But the man on the charge at the moment, and Pedersen's last lap time is a 69.9. Currently the fastest man on the track.
Oh, well, he is on a mission then. Johnny Reid still holding sway out here, leading the race ahead of McIntyre, Murphy and Pedersen with Beard in 5th. But Johnny Reid is a slick customer. He knows how to win. He knows how to take trophies. He just hasn't had the luck at this stage, even though he is incredibly quick. However, just proving once again you don't need to win all the time to win a championship, because he does lead the standings.
Finish first. First you've got to finish, don't you?
Exactly, yes. And that is a fantastic gap there between Johnny Reid for him and the rest of the field between 2 and 3. And that gap back to 4 is insane. We are talking 8 seconds of difference.
Yeah, but the man in the screen, and Pedersen, now he started a long way down. He's just passed Craig Beard for 4th place. And whatever they've done to engineer the car to come on song, it has definitely come on song, because he is really singing from top sheet of the hymn sheet at the moment.
He certainly is, and it's quite stretched, this field. We're looking at Craig Beard, currently position number 5, and can he try and make a gain? Well, he's got to catch up to the man you were talking about, Pedersen. I can't see that happening at the moment. Eddie Bell's trying to chomp down on him. We know he was quick, and that's a little bit better pace and a lot more control seen from Craig Beard this time around. The windscreen wipers are still falling, still going, because we know the rain is falling. There we go. We just love the flames, really, but is that enough to get Eddie Bell past? He is closing up on him. He is quicker.
Well, he is. He's actually half a second quicker than the man on the screen now, Craig Beard. So Eddie Bell has got all the pace at this stage of the race. But I dare say Craig Beard will make that car as wide as he can to defend that place.
Well, Bell has only made up 1 position, even though he is showing some pace. He started in 7th, now 6th. Beardo in 5th, he started in 10th, so that's a good run. The other one is a good run, of course, is Pedersen. Fantastically done from 12th to 4th, and Johnny Mack going up as well. And they are trying to chase these guys down. That is, of course, Johnny Reid way out in front, Craig Beard all alone with Eddie Bell, and another monstrous, huge gap back to Paul Manuel, Andy Knight, and Stephen Richards, who was unable to make any ground. There is our partner of our race leader, team partner, and Pedersen, and the number 96 part of his 9 missing. That doesn't mean he's going to drive any slower, Mark. Just a little decal problem.
Yeah, Certainly is, but you say he's
quick
charge at the moment. Yeah, it's just staggering how much. And look how composed he is inside the cabin. There's no urgency, is there? Moving the gear lever forward, that means it's actually going down towards our second gear.
Well, maybe it's a case of, look, I've got 7 laps to go. There's 8 seconds between me and Greg Murphy. Why don't I just stay here and clock up some points and stay on the circuit?
Exactly the opposite.
You're saying he's going for it.
He's got to charge as hard as you can, because if Greg runs wide or has a mechanical issue or whatever, you've got to be as close as you can to pounce.
Well, pouncing is something he's doing. Bouncing is something his grill's doing. They need to use some cable ties and duct tape because his grill is bouncing all over the place. There is a great battle for second and third. Johnny Mack, who got the passing manoeuvre a few laps back on Greg Murphy. And Greg has been able to do nothing about it. No payback, no revenge.
No, and they're circulating at such similar speeds that unless Johnny does a mistake, it's going to be quite hard for that 51 car to redress it and get back to second place.
It really is, but there's 3.6 seconds between the BP Ultimate machine you see there and the leader, Johnny Reid, out front. Greg Murphy at the moment, like you say, will still be trying and staying there to gain second place back, but I really suspect it's going to have to take a mistake from McIntyre to move to get there. Looking at what we're seeing.
Yeah, look, there's Johnny Mack just inside his cabin there, having a quick look at the windscreen. You see the gear lever going the other way, so he's going up through the gears at the moment. Probably coming into splash right now as they call the sequence of corners.
Just a tiny little look to see where Greg Murphy was. Just a little one. Say, oh yeah, you're far enough back. I'm okay with this. I don't have to go defensive yet. Yeah,
and you just hit the nail on the head. And the purpose of looking in the mirror is to make sure, well, actually, he's far enough back. I can drive my natural racing lines instead of being defensive. The minute you dare freeze the car up, go back to your normal braking zones and everything, and you should start extending the lead if you've got the car you've got, because, well, there's Eddie Bowles actually got in front of Craig Beard as well.
He's still going sideways though. He's still going sideways as Eddie Bowles. He's certainly putting everything into it, trying to get all the horsepower down on the ground. Andy Knight close enough to Paul Manuel to try down the inside, but he jams on the brakes and forgets about it. But he's let Paul know he's there. Sorry, it's Stephen. Yes, it is Paul Manuel. He's let him know he's there. Will he have another crack later on the track?
Oh, so any opportunity he gets, he'll have another crack at it. But look, you do that every now and then. You just throw a bit of a dummy at the driver. Just let him know that you're there.
Throw a dummy. You didn't call him a dummy. You said throw a dummy.
Throw is the opposite word.
All right, so Andy Knight trying to chase down Paul Manuel. And in the distance, you can see Stephen Richards in the CRC. And there's a big gap all the way back to Kane Scott, who has just been out of sorts for this race so far. Round 3 here at Manfeild of a 4-round sprint series, and points are now so important because we are in championship fighting mode. Paul Manuel doing everything he can, some squeaks from the brakes, so we know we're getting a drier track. Andy Knight's just eyeing him up. Is he still going to try and throw the dummy there, Mark? What's he going to do now?
He's set himself up right now, so we're coming out of the hairpin all the way down to second gear, trying to get the best right out, because coming into Higgins here, that's his best bet. So watch Andy Knight. He's going to go right in the draft, stay in as long as he can. Right now, pull out, look right down the inside. No, nothing comes of it.
Same spot though. Same spot is where he's looking for it, Mark. So we know that into...
Now, he might have a run on him here. We see Paul coming out of the corner a little bit sideways.
Too hot. Too hot.
Unfortunately, Andy wasn't close enough. Probably been a little bit defensive. Stephen Richards starting to make a few gains on him.
Well, where did that come? Because Stephen Richards was way back, many cars back. Did that scare Andy Knight and he backed off a little bit?
Yeah, look, there's no doubt the battle with Paul and Andy is starting to take speed out of them and allowing the man on screen right now just to gather up the back of their car.
All right, well, Stephen Richards looking on towards Andy Knight, and he's really closed up. Now's the time for him to say, okay, I can make a position here. I can move from 9 into 8. If you two just keep fighting, you'll open the door for me.
Yeah, once you get to 8, 7th place is that bright orange car in front of him. So look, 7th, 8th, 9th here, all in the blink of an eye. So they're going to take one of these guys to flutter, and he's going to lose 2 spots.
So let's keep an eye on them. Paul Manuel just trying to fight and hold his line ahead of Andy Knight, who is not from this track, but nor is Paul Manuel, and certainly not is Stephen Richards, who has admitted, no, I don't really know how to drive around this track yet, but I'll get it later. And he's looking now. Andy Knight, is he having another go? He's thinking about it every time he goes into turn 6. It's a 3rd gear, and soon they'll launch into 4th as they go down that back straight. Stephen Richards getting left behind a little bit there.
Just that part here, but Andy Knight's delivering the same pickup line every time down into that corner, isn't he? He's not trying anything different, so just have it down the inside. No, nothing's come of this.
Well, we're looking at the battle now for positions 7, 8 and 9 of round 3 at Manfeild. for the V8 SuperTourers, and Stephen Richards is so good down the back section of the track. He makes up all this time on Andy Knight, and that means Andy has to look in his rear vision mirror and forget about chasing down Paul Manuel. He has to defend, and it slows him down. You can see the gap growing between Paul Manuel there and Andy Knight. Stephen Richards is on song now, and is he going to put some pressure on Andy Knight as they head through the intermediate section? He is really there, Mark.
Yes, yeah, just drops it back a little bit out of the hairpin there, just can't get the drive out that Andy Knight has. Andy Knight's a little bit far down. He's pulled out of the draft nice and early, let Paul know that what his intentions are.
Well, they're certainly speedier in different parts of the track, these three.
Yeah, you're right. One car's got the streak there, and Stephen Richards just getting the throw down these damn conditions. Fortunately, he's lost all that momentum. Look, what does it hurt? 3 or 4 car lengths.
Yeah, fraction too much throttle to try and launch all this torque and horsepower down onto the track. Andy Knight will keep an eye on him because he does have Paul Manuel's number on most sections on the track,
you're right,
but
actually,
not enough.
Actually, and Stephen Richards losing that pace is probably the best thing for Andy because it's released him now. He doesn't have to be defensive. He can be aggressive, run down the inside.
As we look at that now, Andy Knight, that is clean racing. That is a racecraft, but can he hold it?
He did. He pulled it up right in the apex of the corner, took enough speed out of it, slowed Paul down.
Yes.
Pace, man, it's masterful driving on Andy Knight's part.
I did wonder if he'd gone in too hot there, Mark, and would he have a switch over for Paul Manuel, but he managed to hold on to it.
I'm not even headed you here, actually. You're exactly right. I was waiting for the same thing.
So now Stephen Richards will be eyeing up Paul Manuel, saying, okay, I know where he's passable. That is on the end of the straights. Hey, that's our race leader, by the way, Johnny Reid, and he is doing a stellar job. 2.5 seconds ahead of Johnny McIntyre and Greg Murphy, and all he has to do is stay calm, cool, collected, and he'll be on the top of the podium.
Yeah, those 3 attributes that you mentioned, we can tick those all off now because he knows how to do it. Johnny McIntyre's not given up in any way, shape or form, and Greg Murphy's close enough that if one of these 2 guys fold up, and saying that, completely sideways coming on turn 1 on the painted curbs.
Gee, do you think he's trying?
Look, none of these guys know how to give up.
They certainly don't. There is Johnny Mack. Now will he glance in his rear vision mirror and just have a little sneak peek to see where Greg Murphy is? No, he knows that he's far enough back that he doesn't even have to worry about him. Hold on to second. In 2 laps, you're not going to gain 2 seconds, so hold on.
And obviously the other guy does a bit of an error.
Well, yes, you can always hope and wish for that. As Johnny Mack gets himself around turn number 6 and launches himself down the back straight. They'll grab 4th, they'll grab 5th, and they'll head into the final bend, which Johnny Reid has gone through already. There is Johnny Mack holding comfortably on the 2nd position. Greg Murphy, well, really now all he can do is just hold there. Just hold there as the last lap board comes out. 3 runners. First, Johnny Reid. Second, Johnny Mack. Third, Greg Murphy. Last lap for race 1 of Johnny Reid. He was so close to doing it at the first round at Hampton Downs, and he got hampered by the safety car, and then he got hammered by all those around him on the restart. This time, it has been yellow free, and he has been able to just do what he does best, and that's drive.
This man knows how to win races. He's won races in multiple categories throughout New Zealand and across the world as well. So look, he's doing easy. And that Johnny McIntyre car is coming on.
Where did he come from?
Regular speed in this last lap.
I said you can't gain 2 seconds in 2 laps. Well, he's gained nearly 1 second in that. Has Johnny back down a bit, lost his tyres? Well, we don't know, but at the moment he is holding on to first position, and he is going to come around nicely as Johnny Reid. He's in the centre intermediate section of the circuit, going for the last time into turn number 6. Holds the perfect race line into 7, round he goes, and he will take the checkered flag. Johnny Reid, International Motorsport, ahead of Johnny McIntyre. Greg Murphy clocks in some wonderful points, and he will take position number 3. The rest of the field, Mark, way behind. So there, Mark, is our race leader, Johnny Reid. Exceptional driver, and he has finally proven that he is worthy of the top step of a podium.
Yeah, look, it was just a matter of time, wasn't it? I don't think really proved much to anybody because we all knew he was capable, and we've been talking about it all the way through. But look, take nothing wrong. He'd done an outstanding job in qualifying, took the gamble, it paid off, and just showed everybody a clean set of heels. Look, you know, towards the race, Johnny McIntyre did close in a bit. Whether Johnny slowed down, who knows, but the result's still the same. This man on the screen is going to be on the top step of the podium after race 1.
Well, it could have even been team orders. You know, just back down, Johnny. There's no point going crazy. You know you're in front. If he gets a little bit closer, yeah, speed up a little bit, but just hold on to your position. There's no point in being silly. Points.
No,
and his boss Lyle is a smart man.
Lyle's a very smart man, but actually just maybe concur a little bit different to what you're saying. The problem is when you slow down, you lose brake temperature, you lose tyre temperature, everything goes out of the car, and if you need to charge again, sometimes you can't pick it up that soon. So maybe there's something else starting to creep in, whatever, but either way, it's like we said, Johnny Reid, take your hat off and be congratulated. You've done a sterling job.
And so we look at the results for race 1 at Manfeild, with Johnny Reid doing a stellar job to take the win ahead of John McIntyre, Greg Murphy in 3rd, and Pedersen in 4th. A stunning job by him from 12th, and Eddie Bell, Craig Baird, Andy Knight, Stephen Richards, Paul Manuel, and then Kane Scott. Colin Corkery wrapping up into position number 11. Andre Heimgartner doing well to not remain last. After that is where he started the race. Richard Moore, Andy Booth, Scott McLaughlin and Jeff Emery, of course, no result for them.